I did not do anything. I did not touch her. I would never hurt her.
I did not hurt her. I did not take her. I did not do anything to threaten her life.
Katelyn Markham was 21 years old. She was an art student with a gift for drawing and a quiet confidence that made people gravitate toward her. She had plans. She had a future. And in August of 2011, she vanished from Fairfield, Ohio without a trace. Her remains weren't found until 2 years later, across state lines in Indiana. Her death was ruled a homicide. And for over a decade, her fiancé, John Carter, walked free. This case sat cold for years. Then it didn't. What finally broke it open, and why the outcome still has her father fighting in the Ohio legislature? That's what we're getting into today. If you're new here, go ahead and subscribe. This one's going to stay with you.
My fiance is missing. I can't find her anywhere.
Where was she at midnight last night when you left?
She was at her house. She was going to bed. She wasn't going out to do anything, so she would have been in her bed. And I mean, I've been with her for 6 years. She's not deceiving, you know. She doesn't.
Okay, and you guys didn't have an argument or anything?
Not at all.
All right, so that's the 911 call. 6 years together, and she's not deceiving. That's a strange word choice right out the gate. Most people say she wouldn't just leave, or she didn't run off. He says she's not deceiving. Like deception is the framework he's already thinking in. And here's what the call doesn't tell you. John was the last person to see Katelyn alive. He says he left her house around midnight. Her phone, her keys, her car, all still there the next morning. Nothing taken. No sign of forced entry. The investigation started with him because it had to. He was the only thread.
Hi, John. How are you?
Nice to meet you.
Come on in over here. I got you a chair right over there.
John, you want water in with that or anything?
Water would be fine. Yeah.
Okay, all right, let me grab you guys want anything?
No, I'm all right.
You what? All right, let me grab some water.
How's it going?
I mean,
Busy time of the year.
Yeah, I mean, like I was just telling her, I got a lot of stuff going on. You know, I have to go to this funeral on Sunday, and then I just got a new job at Miami Oxford.
Oh, did you? Doing what?
Maintenance for their power plants at their
good.
campus.
What's your status right now? I mean, you got a girlfriend or anything?
I do have a girlfriend now.
What's her name?
Her name is Kayla. We met about a year and a half ago.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a degree where this kind of thing happens. I feel like, you know, there's no book, there's no proper way of handling it.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
So the way I feel is, can I kind of explain to you
Sure.
what happened after the fact?
Sure.
So after the fact, I fell apart. I was in my house for months.
Depression?
Yeah, very intensely so. I didn't eat for 2 weeks after. My mom finally got me a quarter pounder, and we were doing one of the searches, and I sat on the side of this hill and was just like, I'm gonna put it in. I'm just gonna see what happens. And I started eating, and then actually I really started eating. Like, I devoured the thing. But it was just like, you know, as I'm falling apart and everything around me seems to be completely ridiculous, I get to a point of the lowest low. And there was a particular instance where I'm driving down Pleasant right here. This is Pleasant.
Okay.
Nellis is right here.
Uh-huh.
I was driving down there, and I mean, I got to a point where I was ready to go. Like, I didn't want to be here. So I gotta be completely honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
I drive across Nellis, and what I assume to be a drunk driver or somebody just going really fast, going about 50 or something like that, blows through the red light, blows right behind me, and I remember that at a certain point, I guess instinctually or something, I gassed it, like I went faster, and I instinctually pulled myself out of it, and it kind of clicked in my head, like I want to live, like I want to be alive. I want to exist in this world, and with or without her, I'm still here. And after that, I got to a point where it was just like, I need to focus on making my life better and focus on, just kind of maintaining a degree of okay.
Now this is interesting. Watch how quickly the conversation shifts from Katelyn to John. New job at Miami Oxford. New girlfriend named Kayla. And then he launches into this whole narrative about his mental health journey, his lowest low, nearly getting hit by a car and choosing to live. Here's the thing. Investigators already knew John had moved on fast. Within months of Katelyn vanishing, he was in a new relationship. That's not evidence of guilt by itself. But when you're sitting across from detectives 12 years later, and your instinct is to build a redemption arc around yourself, that tells them exactly where your head is. Not on her, on you.
Did you go on any searches with them?
I went on some search parties. I did the first few, I did every one I could. And then I went, and then Texas EquiSearch came in and I started doing those, and then they started telling me that I couldn't because I'm sorry, give me a second.
That's fine.
Because if I found anything, then it would be horrible, and they didn't want me to do that.
So they suggested
that I stop searching. I didn't feel comfortable putting up the flyers because I had a lot of trouble. Every time I saw her picture, I would just cry because I missed her so much, and I couldn't do the flyers, so I had to do something. I'm sorry, man.
That's fine. Let's move up. You heard that her body was found.
Yeah.
What was going through your mind then?
I didn't want to cry in front of the ironically, in front of the police officers, so I tried to keep myself, but I was with my mom when they told me, so I confided in my mom more than anybody.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to her, and I fell apart again. And a few days later, I fell apart in front of Kayla, and I did not want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And by falling apart, I mean I literally fall to my knees, and I can't move, I can't feel. So I focused on myself. I couldn't. I know that sounds selfish. I don't know. I feel really bad about that, but I focused on myself, and I tried to make myself better so that I could be okay. And I'm sorry, man.
That's fine. That's fine. Have you been over to where she was found?
No, I don't want to go there. I didn't want to even acknowledge the day she went missing this year because I don't want to remember her for that. I don't want to go to that place and be like, oh, this is where she died. That's wonderful. Like, why would I want to see that? Why would I care about that? Like, I just want to remember her birthday, and I want to remember
The good things.
I don't want to remember that. I don't want to know anything about that except for the fact that whoever did this is not here. That whoever did this is either dead or in jail or...
Do you know are you familiar with the area where they found her?
My dad has property in Laurel, which you can take, because I know that it's on 129 or off 129 or something.
121.
121? Okay, that's the one that leads you to Batesville and stuff, right? Or not Batesville, but starts with B.
Batesville.
It is Batesville, okay. Yeah, and my dad would go that way occasionally, but usually, because he lives in Ross, he takes a totally different way. But I do know, and my dog was bought right off that road by a family, their last name is Masters.
And there it is, the performance. He can't search because seeing her picture makes him cry. He can't put up flyers. He can't visit the site where she was found. Everything that might actually help find answers is something John Carter cannot bring himself to do. Here's what the clip doesn't tell you. Catelyn's father, Dave, spent years organizing searches and keeping her name in the public eye. He never stopped. Meanwhile, John focused on himself, his words, not mine, and built a new life in Texas with Kayla. Grief looks different for everyone, but absence from every meaningful effort? That's not grief. That's distance.
Would you be interested in, as far as your involvement, or I should say participation with regard to an investigation, to once and for all be done with it?
What do you mean?
Well, I'm not asking you to erase your memories of someone that you loved, but I'm asking you, you're here today as a result of police investigating something. You ready to be done with that?
I would like the person who did this to be caught. That is what I want. I don't want to just be done. There's a part of me that, just like, I just don't want to come here anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to talk about this situation anymore. But this is what I have to do to find out who did this. And this is important to me. And that's why I'm here. That's why I'm talking to you guys. I know from before what these are like, what these conversations are like. I know what I have to go through for this shit. And I'm sorry, pardon my language.
Don't worry about it.
But I'm here and I'm doing this and I'm talking to you guys about this and I'm taking all this in because I need to find out who did this so that I can actually go out and live a life.
I know you've taken a polygraph before.
Yeah, and I really would prefer not to.
Okay, let me things are a little bit different. Okay, with them, like I said, this was the disappearance. And I can tell you, we do it ourselves. We don't send you to the FBI. We do it
They came here. I mean,
right, but I mean,
they did it 2 more times. I've been through it 3 times, man. I
think what you did take was a voice analysis.
2 of them were voice stress analysis.
Right.
One of them was a polygraph. And I'm gonna be completely upfront with you. They're bullshit. And the reason why I believe that they're bullshit is because they kept telling me that I was being dishonest, and I sat there and told them the truth.
Okay.
And I'm not going to go through that again, man. I'm not going to do that. I'm telling you everything that I know. And I'm telling you that this is the truth. And that thing does not tell you what the truth is. I have, the whole storyline that I told you, and the fact that it's corroborated, call all the people involved. All of it is corroborated. This is what I did. They looked at my computer and looked to see if I was watching shows, I'm assuming. They, looked at my records. They looked into everything. The whole point was to find out what I was doing at that time. And I'm here to tell you what I was doing at that time. That story is not going to change. Those words are not going to change. I'm not going to say anything different. I don't have anything different. I'm telling you the exact series of events that occurred. Again, the polygraph does not tell you anything. It's not going to give you anything. It's not going to help you with this investigation because it has already said that I was being dishonest. I felt defeated. I felt like I kept telling them everything that I know, and they just kept coming at me with, well, we know it was a mistake, so you can just go ahead and fess up now. No, I didn't do anything to her. I would never. Okay, I was with her for 6 years of my life, my entire life. That was my adult, beginning of my adult life. And it went away like that. And it was taken from me. I did not do anything. I did not touch her. I would never hurt her. I would never physically do anything to give her pain.
So let me get this straight. He wants the person who did this caught. He wants closure. He wants to live his life. But the one thing that might actually help clear his name? Nope, can't do it. Here's what he's not telling you. He didn't just fail one polygraph. He failed 3 separate tests over the course of the investigation. Voice stress analysis twice and a polygraph once. And his defense isn't, I passed and they ignored it. His defense is, the technology is bullshit. That's not someone who wants answers. That's someone who's run out of ways to provide them.
And accident or otherwise, I would not be here had it not been for this.
Understand something. You don't need to be defensive right now.
I'm currently being
Hold on,
defensive
hold on.
because I don't want to do this polygraph so bad.
Let me
I'm
say
sorry.
That's all right.
this to you.
Watch his body language right there. I don't want to do this polygraph so bad. That's not the phrasing of someone who's nervous about being falsely accused. That's the phrasing of someone who knows exactly what the machine is going to find. And here's what makes this moment land differently now. 12 years later, prosecutors would hit a wall. The statute of limitations had already run out on tampering with evidence and abuse of a corpse. They couldn't charge him with what he did to her after, only what he did to end her life. His calm in this room bought him something. Time. And time bought him a legal loophole.
If you guys want to go through anything, if you need anything else, I'm sorry for bringing it up again, but anything else other than this polygraph thing, I'll give you whatever you need. And like I said, keep digging, and maybe when I'm in my job and I don't have to be so nervous about that on top of this, on top of that, on top of this, maybe I'll feel more comfortable coming in and doing a polygraph. But like I said, at this particular moment, I'm just not comfortable with it.
Maybe when I'm in my job. He's bargaining now, listing all the reasons he can't possibly take a polygraph today, but maybe someday when the stars align. This is the same man who 12 years later would plead guilty to involuntary manslaughter and get the maximum sentence of 3 years. 3 years for ending Katelyn Markham's life. And in January 2026, he had the audacity to request early release. Judge denied it. Some loopholes close eventually, just not enough of them.
The date today is February 15th, 2023, approximately 1:26 p.m. in the afternoon. Investigator Paul Newton and Investigator Mike Regal, we are sitting here with John Carter. John voluntarily came in this afternoon to speak with us.
Again, John, how you been doing? All right. Yeah. Seen you after the pumpkin fest, like I was telling you, seen you demonstrating how to blow glass.
Yeah.
That-
I
is that-
teach it. I was just at work.
Was you?
Yeah.
So what you do full time now?
Yeah.
Sounds like fun. Well, I think I've seen one of your other videos. That was one of your passions. You wanted to start doing something more creative, and that was something that kind of led you was the glass blowing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
February 2023. 12 years after Katelyn vanished, and he's sitting there talking about glass blowing, his creative passions. Meanwhile, Dave Markham spent those same 12 years organizing searches and testifying before the Ohio General Assembly. In March 2026, he pushed for Katelyn's Law to eliminate the statute of limitations on crimes connected to murder. The Ohio House passed it in June. Because one father refused to let the system's failures become permanent. Katelyn deserved someone fighting that hard. She had him.
Like I told you over the phone, there's just a few things we want to go with you with. Like I said, this investigation is coming to a close on the prosecutor side of it. I know that Fairfield PD was investigating it. The sheriff's office investigated it. I think me and you have talked once before. And there's just a few things that I still want to get your thoughts and your feelings on a few things. I know we're kind of texting your memory. It's going to be almost 12 years here shortly. But there again, we're not trying to drudge up any bad times.
I know, and that's really all this is to me. Like, and I'm not saying that it's all that what you're doing is to me. It's just that that's kind of my tension right now. It's just like coming back to this again.
Right. But there's times where, I think I have a better handle now on, that I talk to some people who were in your, I guess your core group of people.
Mm-hmm.
And, they told me I asked each person to give me a story about Katelyn.
Mm-hmm.
And each one had a different story. It was something, it was how she touched their lives,
Mm-hmm.
which was really kind of cool because each person told me something that no one else knew.
Right.
Which was kind of cool.
Yeah.
It really was. And I have a better perspective of how she was as a person. Okay, that being said, let's go back just briefly to, you're at the festival that night. You and Katelyn on that Friday night.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You guys go to the festival. Your thoughts on and prior, I'm going to go back and forth when it comes to some of the statements you've given in the past.
Mm-hmm.
You still feel, and your thoughts and your feelings deep down, you still feel that person who had done this was an unknown person, maybe that was kind of, like you said, stalking, or I think your words were suspicious person that may have back in the day.
I mean, honestly, because I can't wrap my head around it being something like that.
Really?
That's really what it comes.
We're not here to.
Yeah, I know, and you got to understand. Like,
that's why
that's
all okay.
Like, this is all just like reminding me.
Right.
And it's a lot. It's just a lot.
It is.
Sorry.
Dude, no need to apologize. It really isn't.
It's a traumatic experience.
Yeah, I mean, you've been through a lot. You and your whole family has. Her, and don't get me wrong. Her family.
She has.
Your whole.
It was her that died.
Yeah.
It was her.
Yeah.
It wasn't me. And I feel guilty. Like, she died. She doesn't get to live her life anymore. It's not fair.
No, it's not.
It's not.
That's one thing I've got from everybody who I've talked to, and like I said, I have a better understanding of Katelyn, was she lit up everybody's life for the positive. And she is no longer here to do that anymore. Like I said, like I told you over the phone, it would be different if she'd had a car accident. You can kind of move on because it was an accident. This here was, this was purposeful.
But I mean, on top of all of it, it just ropes me in. I am the statistic.
Yeah.
Everyone looks at me and I am the statistic. So I can't do anything about it. Everyone's already accusing me before I even look at it.
Yeah.
Before they've even met me or know me, before they even have heard the truth or what the truth actually is. But I'd love that peace of mind. I'd love to know the truth. I'd love to find out what happened.
There's something that you have to have in your own mind, though, is that being said, people going to have their thoughts, but you're not being charged anywhere. All we're doing is asking questions. At any point in time, you get walk out that door, and we're glad. I know that you're going.
There's a moment. There's a moment when all that happened, and I realized that I was not getting.
Tell her after you found that she's missing.
And there was a moment where I felt I couldn't hold myself up anymore.
I am the statistic. That line right there. He's positioning himself as the victim of public suspicion while sitting across from detectives investigating the woman he killed. Notice how he frames it. Everyone looks at him unfairly before they've even heard the truth. 12 years of maintaining that posture. 12 years of deflecting. And when the detective mentions how Katelyn lit up everyone's life, he manages to pivot it back to his own suffering within seconds. The tears aren't for her. They never were.
Because it was loss.
Overwhelming.
Tremendously so. And to a point where it was so tremendously overwhelming that it was unforgettable. And whenever I have this, whenever we do this, it brings that moment in. It doesn't matter what you say. It doesn't matter what you do. it brings me to this moment where I am in front of her house, not knowing where she is, what I can do to help her, or keep her here, or figure out where to go to find her and bring her home. And it was, I had nowhere else to go, no one else to call, no other thoughts, no other opinions. No one else was guiding me. No one was telling me what to do. And even now, I have no one to tell me what to do or what to say.
There's no book. There's no script for this, brother. There isn't. There's no script for you to say, John, this is what you're supposed to do. This is how you're supposed to feel. This is
And
what
I'm
you're supposed to move on.
currently being told by my wife that I should bring a lawyer to these things, that I should do those things. I'm not doing that because I don't think, first of all, I feel like I've already myself. If it came down to me needing a lawyer, I've already been here enough without one that it really doesn't matter what I say. I also know for a fact that I don't have anything that I can say that's going to make it seem like I did something, except for obviously the polygraph situation, which I don't fully understand, and I don't get why that happened or why it's like that. But beyond that, like, I don't have anything I can say. I don't have anything I can do or make you think that I did something, because there is nothing there. There's nothing. And I just...
Let me ask you a question. That being said, do you feel, and I think I know the answer to this, do you want me to keep looking? I told you
Yes.
that next question, I told you this 2 years ago. It's been 2 years since when you told me this. I told you I was going to keep looking at that.
Yes.
And where we at?
Still looking.
Yes.
Keep going.
Yes.
Don't stop.
I'm not.
And I'm looking you in the eyes just like I did last time. Do it.
I am. That's what I'm here for. I told you I wouldn't let you stop. That's one thing about me. I can't. I'm too stupid to stop.
And get the right person.
That's why I'm asking you guys. We're asking you to ask questions about, because there's some things only you know.
Okay.
There's no script for this. He actually said that. The man who killed Katelyn Markham is sitting in an interrogation room, lamenting that nobody handed him a guidebook on how to feel. Meanwhile, his wife at home is telling him to bring a lawyer, and he's refusing because he thinks that makes him look innocent. Here's what's wild about this moment. He mentions the polygraph like it's some inexplicable anomaly that happened to him, rather than a test he failed because he was lying. 3 failed tests total. And his explanation? I don't fully understand why that happened. Rather, the machine understood perfectly.
If you can, remember, and in detail as possible, describe to me when you get to her car, you put the keys and you put the key and you unlock her car, or if it's a key fob, you unlock her car. What did you do? Look, just looking for her phone. Just looking for her
I
phone.
probably opened your driver's side door and looked at the center console.
Okay. Did you go to the back of the car? I know you're probably.
No, I really don't think so, but I may have like opened it and looked, or maybe I don't remember.
Okay.
I really don't remember.
Okay.
I'm sorry, man.
No,
I really don't.
there's no for you to apologize.
I know,
We're here for the truth.
but I want to get it. I want to give you the truth. I want to give you what I remember.
No, I want you to. I'm going to show you a photo
Yeah.
of her car.
Yes.
Okay. Now I want you to tell me these could be pictures of her car from the inside. Okay. Now these are photographs of the inside of her car. Okay. Now I'm gonna tell me if that looks like her car to you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dirtier.
You know, you guys are young, and
Yeah.
she's going to school, working 2 jobs, and this let me move it wide. Okay, that's the couple of shots of the outside of the car. Okay, now here's my question to you. Caitlin was about 5'3",
Mm-hmm.
about 130 pounds, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what do you notice about this photograph?
That is far back.
Yeah.
Maybe I moved him when I was looking for the phone to look under the seat, but I don't know. I really don't know.
Okay, well look at both seats. Look at this is the passenger side.
They're both back. So maybe probably like if I move this one, then move that one, and then move the boat back to look around. It's very possible.
Well,
but
my
again,
question is that, I mean, would you have moved those seats? Because I talked to the investigator, he took these photographs, and we actually talked to the tow truck driver. He said, we all think the tow truck driver said, he goes, we pulled up on the back, we backed it up, we drug it up on the skid or the back, the roll back, and we stuck it in the garage, and that was that. He goes, so my question is this, both those seats been moved back like that. Is that alarming to you?
It is, yeah, that's weird. That's very weird.
And this is the back seat, what I'm showing you here.
Right, which is
that's
really
I mean, she can't reach those pedals from there.
no, probably not. I would say no.
I mean, that's a big question. That's like, who the hell's
That is
in a car
very
beside?
strange.
Who the hell's in that car besides her?
But I definitely did not move or drive the car.
I mean, now you see why we wanted to come in. I mean, this is trouble.
That's strange.
It is very strange.
But like I said, I didn't move or drive the car at all.
I was going to ask, you mentioned earlier about, and I'm sorry again, I not worked on this case like Paul, so I don't know. You mentioned that you and Katelyn, if there was some tension or something that
It wasn't like a fight, not at all. What it really came down to was Katelyn was a little bit frustrated that I wanted to keep my night going.
Okay.
While she just went to bed.
Okay.
But I basically kind of treated it like she'll get it.
Okay.
You know, and that was the tension. Realistically, it was just that. I was just like, gosh.
So it wasn't like an argument.
I don't know. Okay. No. Like I said, she was just disappointed that she had to be doing school stuff, and here I go hanging out with friends. And
then how did the documents thing? How did that?
I basically just got there and was like, "This is all Katelyn's stuff," and and they had a fire pit in the back, but it was like slightly raining. But I was just like, "I'm burning it." I just burned it. I mean, that's really what it came down to.
I see. And she gave those to you before you left.
Again, the tension was there, but she's handing me this stuff. We're still going to Colorado. There is no change there.
Okay.
Like everything is still exactly as
everything going as planned.
Pretty much, yeah.
The seats. Did you catch that? Investigators show him photographs of Katelyn's car, and both front seats are pushed all the way back. Katelyn was 5'3". She couldn't reach the pedals from there. Someone else moved that car. Someone taller. And when confronted with this, he just blinks and goes, "That's weird." No explanation, no theory, just instant deflection followed by, "I definitely did not move or drive the car." The man who burned her documents in a fire pit the same night she vanished wants us to believe he has no idea how her seat got repositioned. That's not confusion. That's a wall going up.
So I did find something interesting. So there's three episodes of White Collar. Season 2, episode 12, episode 13, episode 14. You said they're about 45 minutes apiece?
Something like that.
Okay. Then later in the day, I guess after you've gotten up, you look at the plot summaries for the same. It's on your computer.
I mean, I don't know why. I didn't look up any plot summaries.
Yeah, I mean, so later in the day, so I'm converting this from the military time, but about 3:17, you look at the plot summary for episode 13, which is the one that you watched the night before, which just like maybe just,
I don't remember doing that. Did I look it up on IMDb? Like I don't normally do that, so I don't know why.
Yeah, there is a synopsis, basic plot summary for episode 13.
Okay.
And then plot summary for episode 14. And that bothered me. I'll be honest, that kind of bothered me a little bit because in some of your viewing, it kind of made sense because like maybe you're about to watch episode 10. I'm talking about like before, like a few days before. So you looked at a plot summary for episode 9. And that kind of makes sense. We all understand that. Like, "Oh, what happened?" But it was weird to me that you would look at like a synopsis for something you just watched a few hours ago.
Yeah, I don't remember doing that. I didn't do that. I slept. I mean, it corroboratingly slept. You can ask my mom. I was asleep.
Well, I can tell you this. Part of your phone records. You made a phone call at, I believe it was 2:24 that day. Papa John's. Not what you call Papa John's because you remember the whole thing.
Okay.
But there again, you call Papa John's. You also text message Nate Ivey. See, remember from back then?
Yeah.
And I think you also text.
Okay.
And it was all prior to 4:30.
Right. And this would have been at about 3:30 or 3:20, somewhere around there. And I'll be honest, John, it was odd to me because I don't normally look at summary for something that I just watched a few hours before.
Yeah, I again don't know why it pulled up a plot summary, but it could be from me just like clicking back, like exiting out of things, going back or something like that. I mean, that could have easily been why. But I don't generally look at plot summaries even days later. I just watch the previously on thing, which those have. So all of those episodes have previously on white collar. So I don't look up plot summaries. I don't know why that was on there. But maybe again, it's because I had clicked back on it. Maybe there is a missing point where I did like look at my computer, talk to people. I really don't know. And honestly, at a certain point, I just don't have an answer for it.
Oh, he's really reaching now. Plot summaries for episodes he just watched hours earlier? His defense is that maybe he accidentally clicked back on something. Here's what makes this so damning. Investigators pulled his entire browsing history. They know exactly when he searched what. And this is a pattern with John Carter. Every time digital evidence contradicts his story, he defaults to, "I don't remember doing that," or "maybe I clicked something by accident." The man has an explanation for nothing and an excuse for everything. When you're innocent, you don't have to guess why your own computer activity exists.
And they see a darker blue four-door sedan right behind the Ford Focus. The red Ford Focus pulls into the driveway. Garage door opens up. They see the car pull into the garage. Garage door shuts. The blue car stays out on the street.
Okay, no, there's a problem.
Okay.
I didn't.
Okay. Let me finish the story then.
Okay.
Blue car stays out on the street. Between 5 and 15 minutes later, garage door pulls back open. Car pulls back out. Both cars are still blacked out, and they go back the same way they coming down West Scioto towards a cow. The west side that comes down towards your house, and they see the two cars. Red car pulls out, the car turns around, and they go the same way they come back out. Heading back towards West Scioto, heading towards, that would be what, River Road? Okay. Same story they told. They told they were heading, they were going to a party that night. They were going to a party to meet some girls. And they said they are positive what they seen that night. Now
I can't.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. I told you the gist of the story.
Yeah. I have my story. That's what happened.
Right.
I did. I don't park in my garage. I parked in the driveway every night. And I'll say beyond, didn't have anything to do with that.
A blue car sitting outside for 5 to 15 minutes while John's supposedly inside? Witnesses placed 2 vehicles at the scene that night, and John's story is, "I park in the driveway every night." That's not an answer. That's a deflection wrapped in a technicality. What's fascinating here is how quickly he tries to shut the narrative down. The detectives are laying out witness testimony about coordinated vehicle movement, and his instinct isn't curiosity or concern. It's dismissal. I didn't have anything to do with that. The man who claims he wants answers sure stops asking questions when the answers point at him.
It'd be hard for this sighting to be more damning. Firstly, the kids who reported this actually reported it in 2013, soon after Katelyn's body was discovered. The realization that they may be the keys to solving an actual homicide was the only thing that made them fess up to the police. And worse, their parents, about sneaking out of the house on the night in question. Both of the teens, when interviewed separately, told matching stories, even down to the color and model of the cars involved. They witnessed the cars with their lights fully off, drive toward Katelyn's home, then return and sneak into John's garage, once more, with their lights fully off. That doesn't sound like someone watching a crime show to me. It sounds like someone living it.
And they got a third person backing them up, that he took them to the party and picked them up in close proximity to your house. The third person. They were like, oh shit, that was weird, because they thought they were going to get busted by a Fairfield Police Department. When in doubt, it was a red Ford Focus and a blue four-door sedan.
Have anything for you? Those people, I don't know.
Right.
That's not, I told you I did, and where I was at home.
They were pretty certain about that.
The time does match up with you. I mean, it's like you said, that time when I was showing you the time that these people say that you arrived is consistent.
I didn't go anywhere.
So
I
you got
stayed at
home.
home. I got home and I stayed home. And in fact, my stepdad would wake up ridiculously early to do work. And he got up pretty early that morning to do work. And my car was there in the driveway. Steve and my mom both parked in the garage.
Okay.
And they were both of their cars were in there. I never parked in my garage. So that story is already flawed, on top of the fact that none of that happened. None of it.
Okay.
I went home. I got inside. I watched my shows. I laid down. I went to bed. I mean, that is pretty much what happened as far as I can remember it at this point in this whole situation.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have, you feel free to bring the witnesses in. I don't know what to tell you. There's no more I can prove to you.
They gave statements. They gave statements back. This is not something new.
Okay.
It really isn't. This is something they did their statements back in the day. Shortly after Katelyn's body was found, because they didn't put two together until like they went, shit. That's what we seen that night.
Okay, but I don't know what they saw or who. I can't tell you.
Okay.
There was no blue stand. I don't know whose stand that could be. I told you.
One of your friends was driving.
As far as I know, though, it was Jeff who drove a blue Ford Focus. But yeah,
Nobody else?
no. And I didn't leave after I went home.
You were home that whole time in the morning.
After the party, I'm
After
pretty
the
sure.
party.
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
You're pretty sure?
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, obviously, it's been years down the
I
line.
understand that,
But
you-
I didn't leave. I didn't go drive my car somewhere.
Two teenagers sneaking out to a party in 2011 had no idea they'd become key witnesses in a homicide. They came forward in 2013, only after Katelyn's body was found in Indiana, because suddenly their late-night joyride wasn't just rebellious, it was evidence. And here's what makes their testimony devastating. They were interviewed separately, and their stories matched. Down to the car colors, down to the lights being off. John's rebuttal? My stepdad woke up early and my car was in the driveway. That's not a defense. That's a man who thinks alibis are built from proximity to sleeping relatives.
Jeff said he was seeing you guys at the festival. I guess he showed up afterward.
Mhm.
I guess you were there for the big drawing at night.
I wanted to try it.
And this is Jeff talking. Yeah, he said hi to you. He said he seemed kind of out of sorts. And he said, I guess he said hi to you, and you say hi back, which is unusual. Jeff said, you guys are. I think you said that core group of guys.
Okay.
And that you didn't say hi to him. He goes, you can tell there was something wrong between you and Katelyn that night. He said, and
she was frustrated, and
to the point, dude. She says to the point. He says to the point, dude, that it looked like everyone breaking up. And I was like, damn, that's pretty. I mean, I know some of the people upset that there was tension that night, but to the point you guys breaking up.
No.
So Katelyn wasn't having any second thoughts about moving to
Not
Colorado.
that I'm aware of. No, not that she had made me aware of. Okay, so as far as like anything like that, if she felt that way or if it seemed that way to him, that's all fine. But I was.
This is his
not aware.
observation.
Yeah, I was not aware of that kind of tension. Katelyn, I remember, was like already just kind of tense and frustrated, but all of that, again, a lot to do with her getting ready for school to be over, for us getting ready to move. And there was just a lot of like things building up around that. And just, but the plan was still the same as far as I knew. Everything was exactly the way it was supposed to be going at that particular time.
Right.
So.
Did Katelyn get frustrated with, I mean, you're now like, in glass blower and, seem to found your way and life and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But at the time, I think you were kind of bouncing around and working and she seemed to be, I mean, just my limited experience, she seemed to be really motivated. Very artistic, very driven, working.
Yeah, I think she was probably worried that I wasn't going anywhere or doing anything. But at the same time, like I still had drive.
Mm-hmm.
Still had an ability to get things done. And for the most part, while she was in college, I was helping her through a lot of that stuff. Like, yeah, her dad paid for a lot of her groceries and stuff, but like I was a part of her life. I helped her through college. It wasn't just like I worked off and it kept working.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't just the money for me, that was for us. And she knew that.
Yeah, forgive me. I know I'm going over things I know you've probably gone over, but your phone also was something that I know was examined back then. You deleted text messages between you and Kayla. What was that?
That was an utter and complete horrific accident. The idea was, again, not great with computers. Not at all. And what I had done, the way that the phone worked, I went to just delete a few messages because it said it was going to start deleting all of my messages if I didn't delete some so that I could receive messages. I've been receiving massive amounts of messages about Katelyn, about everything.
Mm-hmm.
So as those started coming in, I started worrying that Katelyn's messages would start to get deleted. So I went through and carefully tried to select each one. And then when I pushed the delete button, it deleted all of them, except for ones that seemed to be like pocket saved or something. I had like a handful of ones left behind, but it almost deleted every other one. And I don't know why. But I had given the phone. They had all of the information. I had not deleted it before I gave it to them the first time. And I really didn't mean to do that. And I know what it looks like.
Yeah, it looks, I mean, I'll be honest, it looks
I'm
real
aware.
bad,
I'm
right?
aware of that. But there's nothing I can do about that. It was a complete and utter accident.
Right. Yeah, I mean, again, not knowing the case as well as Paul, I mean, that was one of the things that stuck out to me.
I understand that, but at the same time, like I said, they had the phone. There was nothing deleted when they originally had my phone the first time they took it. That was literally that day. They had my phone.
Career trajectories. That's what he's selling as the source of tension. He was bouncing around while Katelyn was driven and motivated and building towards something. And look, I'll give him this much. That part's probably true. Katelyn was weeks away from graduating with her art degree. She had plans. Colorado was real for her. But notice how he frames his lack of direction. I still had drive. Past tense. From a man trying to explain why the woman he killed might have been frustrated with him. The deleted texts he calls a horrific accident? That phone had 12 years of scrutiny ahead of it. Some accident.
For hours, and they didn't copy anything. I didn't make that mistake. I made the mistake of accidentally deleting it before they could make a decision to copy everything.
Okay. And it was an accident that you deleted
Absolutely.
Katelyn's message.
Absolutely, because I did want to go back and read them. I did want to see them. I had messages from her going way back.
So you accidentally deleted the whole?
Everything. Everything but the ones that Pocket dialed saved.
Oh.
I'm telling you, every message was deleted. And then they wanted to come to me and say, well, why weren't these messages deleted? I can't explain why those got saved.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why. But almost every other message I had was gone. I had, like, you know how it shows the whole screen of messages?
Right.
I had this many messages at the top of my screen.
Right.
A lot of them got deleted. And I did not do that on purpose.
Pocket dialed save. That's his explanation. 12 years of investigation and John Carter's defense for why certain incriminating messages survived while others vanished is that his pocket randomly preserved them. Here's what the clip doesn't tell you. Prosecutors couldn't charge him with tampering with evidence because the statute of limitations ran out. The very deletion he's stammering through right now, legally untouchable by the time they got him in cuffs. That's why Dave Markham spent years pushing Katelyn's law through the Ohio legislature. Because sometimes, the system needs a father to fix what killers exploit.
Is there anything else?
A couple more things. When it comes to, I know about Carter Land Farm. How many people have you taken up with? And on that route to your dad's place out? It's a handful of people.
Yeah, and like
The core group of people.
Yeah.
I mean, that was probably your special place. Is that a special place for you and your friends? I mean,
it
your
was
close friends?
fun to go out there, but that's because it was a lack of supervision. It's the only reason we went out there. Nobody was there to watch us smoke pot.
You can understand why that, I mean, obviously you know where Katelyn's remains were found.
I'm aware of it.
Yeah. And it's out there in Indiana. It also seems to me, again, Paul knows this case a lot better than me. I think the reason why he's asked you about this circle of friends is it doesn't seem that there would be a lot of possibilities of this type of crime, you know.
Mm-hmm. Outside of like immediate friends.
Outside of a small group of people. And then the body is found in Indiana. That doesn't seem like that would be some random person or random crime.
I will tell you this, John. All your core group friends I've talked to, I mean, all of them, all said the same thing. Katelyn's not opening that door to scream. So, I mean, the whole adage of who then?
Yeah, I don't know.
You know,
I don't know.
That's
And like I
that's
said,
what this is.
you asked me my speculation. I told you,
That's
but
what-
I don't know.
And that's what, I mean, I always wanted to know how you felt, even to this day, because sometimes hindsight's 20/20. You know, it's been 12 years.
I just.
You still feel the same way?
But what you're asking me is not just, do I think that somebody I know killed her? You're asking me, do I think my friends killed her?
Yeah.
And how do I answer that?
Truthfully.
I mean, like,
I wanna know deep down.
I don't know who.
Deep down, I want to know what John.
Have you
Carter
looked into
thinks.
John, who recently killed himself? Because I've always wondered about him, and I don't feel like anybody's ever really done it. I don't understand why, and I don't understand a lot,
I understand.
but I don't know. And I don't know who to point a finger at. I've dug, trust me. But, I mean, how do I get that answer? How do I come to that conclusion? Is it a feeling? I don't know.
I'll take you beyond it. I think you're feeling, because you are the,
The only feeling I've had, I had a feeling about John for some reason. Don't know why. I've had a feeling about everyone at one point or another. Yeah.
understandable.
And the finger has been pointed to everyone.
And sometimes.
But that's the other thing.
Unfair.
But that's the other thing. I don't have an exact answer. You asked me what my thoughts are. I mean, that I don't know.
Thoughts and feeling. I mean, so I know.
I'm giving you everything I got.
Thoughts is one thing, feelings another, something else.
Yeah.
Because it means
I've
something
given
else.
you everything.
Have you looked into John recently? He's literally asking detectives to investigate himself. 12 years of maintaining innocence, and his big move is to float his own name as a suspect while sitting in an interrogation room. This is what desperation looks like when it runs out of road. He's trying to seem cooperative by appearing open to scrutiny he knows is already locked on him. The man who killed Katelyn Markham is now pretending to brainstorm who might have killed Katelyn Markham. The performance has collapsed into parody.
And maybe, maybe I'm blurry on my morning before I left for work. But
because even some things.
But I didn't go anywhere. I didn't go do anything, and I had nothing to do with Katelyn going missing or not being. That's what I can tell.
Well, I mean, she did go missing, but then made found. So I mean, it's worse than just missing.
I had nothing to do with her. Do you need me to say that? Because I did not do anything to her to kill her.
I think that's the first time I ever heard you say that.
I did not kill her. I did not murder her. I did not take her. I did not do anything to threaten her life. I did not have an accident. And to tell you the truth, if ever there were an accident, I would never be able to hold that in. I would not be able to look you in the eye right now. And I can tell you that 100%. I did not do anything to hurt that woman. I loved her and I had a life plan for her. And I was not about to lose that. And the fact that I even managed to get to this part of my life, what I can do now, is something I never thought I could do. I am sorry for the indiscrepancies and the things that you're seeing with my computer, with the phone, with the witnesses who apparently saw me leave a garage that I don't park in. But I can't give you any.
If you see blind,
I can see why you're asking the questions.
That's what you
I
understand.
can see why you're asking the questions because you have to cover everything.
Yes.
But what I am telling you is what I know to be true.
Right.
100%.
Right. Well, and I think we've talked about the stuff that I've looked at that I'm like, oh, that.
So do you feel like I may have even helped in your understanding of it, or do you still feel totally lost?
I think I don't think I'm totally lost. I think you've gone over and given me your explanation. So, I mean, and you helped me understand what I'm seeing. I mean, the text messages still bother me, but you've given me an answer.
Shit out of me too.
You've given me an answer to that. Okay, so I don't. I mean, unless you're not telling me everything, then the answer is what it is, right? I think I'm glad that you've been cooperative. I'm glad you come in and talk with us. There's a lot of things that I'm sure you probably wish you had those text messages so you could say, look, Mike, right here.
Here they all are.
Yeah.
I would totally give them to you. Basically, I would really prefer not to have to do this anymore. Now, I understand if there's some sort of indictment, I'm going to have to go to court or something of that nature. Is that likely?
Like I told you on the phone, I think it was the prosecutor's office. I'm a deputy sheriff.
I remember you saying that,
Yes.
that you would put it in and then they might not do anything for a
Yes,
while.
because grand juries do what grand juries do. What they do is we present everything we have to them. And it's basically to get it, because none of this there's not even a case number for this at the prosecutor's office.
Mm-hmm.
So we get it on the record, because if somebody does come in at some point in time, there's no record of shit.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? We get it on the record, we let the grand jury hear all the testimonies that we have.
Mhm.
And they will either indict, or they do it, or they'll kick it back, or they want to indict nothing. We'll call it what's called a no bill, which is meaning the case is still pending till further investigations are done. So that's what happens.
Okay.
So that's basically that's where we're at with this. Like I was telling your fiance or your wife, is that reason why I was kind of pushing for this, because I talked to all your friends. I one last time talked to you for this very reason we did what we're here today. I greatly appreciate it, but I have to write up my report of what we found and these last questions that we have, and basically, and I'll write it in my report. I will submit this to the prosecutor, and he will go from there.
I did not kill her. I did not hurt her. I did not take her. That's the first time in 12 years of interrogations he's actually said those words out loud to detectives. Think about that. A man whose fiancée vanished from her home has gone over a decade without explicitly denying he killed her, until this moment. And when he finally does, it comes wrapped in a flood of qualifiers and hypotheticals about accidents he would never be able to hold in. The detective even marks it. I think that's the first time I've heard you say that. When your denial lands as news to the people investigating you, then you've already lost the room.
He'll say either he doesn't have to present this to the grand jury if he doesn't want to.
Mhm.
He can say yes, no, or continue research. So he's the prosecutor.
Oh, and I'm going to say this. Finally, at this point, you may find discrepancy, but you will not find any evidence. And I can promise you that, because I was not involved in Katelyn Markham's death in any way. I just want to make sure that is,
Or the disposal of her body.
or the disposal of her body, or anything to do with her disappearance, or anything surrounding the incident that we are discussing today. The only thing I had to do with it was that I loved her and I was in a relationship with her, and that was it. That we were connected. That's it. And beyond that, there's nothing else to find out. And that's what I really want you to be clear on that. Because I can promise you're not going to call me in here, or you're not going to have a grand jury bring me in because of evidence existing.
You will not find any evidence. That's not a denial. That's a dare. And it's a dare he technically won for over a decade. See, the thing about Carter's confidence here is that it wasn't entirely misplaced. Prosecutors couldn't charge him with tampering or abuse of a corpse because the statute of limitations ran out while he was busy making glass art in Texas. He's not saying he didn't do it. He's saying you can't prove it. There's a difference. And that difference is exactly why Dave Markham spent years pushing Katelyn's law through the Ohio legislature.
You okay?
Yeah.
Comfortable?
Yeah.
Is it started?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I think Steve started.
Yeah. Okay, John. Before we get started, we have to read you your Miranda warnings, okay?
Okay.
So, hey, Mr. Regal here, you met Mr. Regal before.
Yes.
So John,
Let me go on so you can read one, as you can read as these.
yeah.
You got one here somewhere.
Take a look at that one. And I'm going to read the same thing to you,
Yeah,
okay?
you got one right there for you.
They're reading him his Miranda rights again. That's significant. This isn't a casual conversation anymore. This is them putting him on record knowing exactly what they have. See, by now, investigators had found Katelyn's remains in Indiana. They had forensic evidence. They had witness testimony about 2 cars at the scene. And John Carter walked back into that room, thinking he could still talk his way out. The confidence that served him for 12 years, it's about to meet the evidence it was betting against.
Knowing these rights, do you wish to talk to me without having a lawyer present?
For the time being, yes.
Okay. All right, for the time being.
Okay.
What's happening?
This is what we call, I think you would and I know you are probably a Avengers fan, but this is what we call the end game. The end game is we went to a grand jury. Your mom testified before the grand jury because we want her to have her say and input in that grand jury, that proceeding. And the grand jury has indicted you.
Why?
Because they feel that there's enough probable cause that this case proceed further to the common police court.
Okay.
So they believe the information that we had, and you've been indicted, and
For what?
murder.
Okay, but what evidence? There's nothing.
You're thinking of there's evidence that's got to be fingerprints.
No, I mean
there's things called circumstantial evidence.
Okay.
And there's a lot of, you've already talked about the circumstantial evidence, the red flags. That's circumstantial evidence.
Okay, but I had nothing to do with her death or disappearance or any of that. So
that being said,
okay. I'm listening.
we are at the point in time now to where this is where you need to come clean with what everything happened that night, because here's the thing, dude. I'm telling you, the whole stories that you've been giving, the inconsistent stories you've been giving them, being the police department, the media, and everybody else since 2011, has come to a point now to where no one's believing the story. Okay, the whole story about the unknown suspect or individual who was at the festival following you and Katelyn to her house. No one's believing that.
Okay.
They didn't believe it when you first come out with it.
Okay, but that was just like a thought. I mean, like you asked me my theories and I gave you my thought, but I don't
You told
know.
no one asked you that question. That's the question you gave to the 911 operator day one. Okay.
Okay.
So that being said,
I thought maybe that could be a possibility, but I'm not saying that's my story. I don't know what the happened. I have no idea what happened. That's not a story I gave you as an excuse or any other thing than just there could have been any reason. And I thought maybe that would be the most likely scenario because it seems unbelievable to me that anyone I know would do that to her.
okay.
But I haven't made any lies. I haven't told you anything that didn't happen. So maybe my stories are different sometimes here and
Sometimes,
there.
John.
But there's not.
Your story has evolved constantly over the past almost 12 years.
Because it's been 12 years.
Yeah, but your story is never the same story twice. That's the best part about all this. It's never the same story twice.
What are you talking about?
All your stories.
What part is inconsistent or different?
You filled out. You remember filling out a form early on, like shortly,
just writing down everything that
everything. You talked about the events of that day, and then it's like, tell us about Katelyn, and you wrote, she is kind, she has a snaggletooth. You remember that form? That was
vaguely.
So you wrote down a whole sequence of events from the day before and the day after the in August, and you have events that just like they couldn't have occurred. Like they couldn't have occurred, like, about your mom coming back from David's bridal, and you had all of these other things happening, and then you called the police. Like, John, like, I read through it, and I went through it, and I read it, and went back over it, and
For what? That's the response. A grand jury just indicted him for murder, and his first instinct is to sound confused. Look, circumstantial evidence isn't some consolation prize prosecutors hand out when they can't find a smoking gun. Circumstantial evidence is what convicts people when they're too careful to leave witnesses, but too sloppy to keep their story straight. And John Carter gave them 12 years of inconsistent statements. The detective nails it. It's never the same story twice. That's not memory drift. That's someone who forgot which version he told to which person.
now, this is right after it happened.
Okay, can I
Say what you gotta say, brother.
I don't have anything new to tell you. So if we're just gonna sit here and question me,
There's no more questioning.
or expect or expect me to
This is
confess to anything that we're
let
gonna
me
have
get
to
this
move
out to you, okay?
forward.
Let me tell you what
Because
this is where
it
I'm
had
going to tell you
nothing
this.
to do with her death or
Okay.
disappearance, and that's really
Right
all
now,
I
as of
have
right
to
now,
say right now.
as of right now, okay, if you want to tell us what really happened that night, I'm willing to listen. The prosecutor is willing to listen. No, but we don't want to hear no more of this nonsense about this unknown suspect following you guys.
I'm not giving you that. Okay? That's the unknown suspect following me thing. Okay, fine. What I have been telling you and what I've been trying to say is I have no clue what happened to her. What I did,
not buying
what I
that.
said. Okay, then we're done.
I'm fine.
I'm gonna need to get my lawyer.
Yes.
Please.
Okay.
Yes, because you'll be
Can
going
I
to court.
please have a phone call?
Yes, when you get to the jail.
All right. John, it's 4:58 p.m. Okay, I'm going to put down 4:58. Attorney requested.
I can't believe this.
Well, you need to believe it because it's happening right
Yeah,
now.
well, I mean, what you're doing is like it's
No, I'm not doing
literally
anything.
no. What has happened, what has transpired, is just it's unbelievable because I really have nothing to do with any of this. With what you're accusing me of, I have nothing to do with it.
John, look.
I didn't have.
He's invoked.
Yes.
Okay.
Look, you've invoked your rights, okay, at this point, so we really can't go any further. Understand?
Fine.
Okay. So I'm writing it down at 4:58 p.m. And should we stop the interview at this point?
Yes.
Yeah.
4:58 p.m. That's when 12 years of carefully constructed denial finally hit a wall it couldn't talk its way around. I'm going to need to get my lawyer, please. And just like that, the performance ends. Not with a confession, not with accountability, with a request for legal counsel the moment he realized his words were no longer his best defense. For over a decade, John Carter believed he could outmaneuver anyone who sat across from him. He passed on polygraphs. He moved to Texas. He made glass art while Dave Markham organized searches. He built a new life while Katelyn's family lived in suspended grief. And through all of it, he talked. He talked to detectives. He talked to journalists. He talked because he was convinced his version of events was bulletproof. It wasn't. The grand jury saw through it. The forensic evidence contradicted it. The witness testimony dismantled it. And when investigators finally laid out exactly what they had, the seat positions in Katelyn's car that didn't match her height, the burned documents, the 2 vehicles seen at the scene, the deleted messages, the 12 years of stories that never quite aligned, John Carter did the only thing he had left. He stopped talking. That's not the behavior of an innocent man finally seeking proper legal protection. That's the behavior of someone who just realized the game he's been playing for 12 years is over. In 2024, he pleaded guilty to involuntary manslaughter. 3 years. That's what Katelyn Markham's life was worth in the eyes of Ohio's legal system. 3 years for ending a 21-year-old woman who had her entire future mapped out, who was weeks away from starting at the Art Academy of Cincinnati, who had a father who loved her enough to spend over a decade fighting for answers the system kept failing to provide. In January 2026, Carter requested early release. Judge Daniel Hoey denied it. Some things still work the way they're supposed to. But here's what matters more than John Carter's sentence. In June 2026, the Ohio House passed Katelyn's Law, legislation that eliminates the statute of limitations for crimes connected to murder. No more running out the clock on evidence tampering. No more escaping accountability because prosecutors couldn't move fast enough. Dave Markham testified before the Ohio General Assembly and turned his daughter's case into a permanent change in how this state handles homicide. That's legacy. That's what it looks like when a father refuses to let the system's failures define his daughter's story. Katelyn Markham was an artist. She was a dreamer. She was someone who made the people around her better just by being present. And she deserved so much more than 3 years of justice and 12 years of waiting. But because her father wouldn't stop fighting, because he turned grief into advocacy and advocacy into law, other families won't face the same gaps that let her killer delay accountability for over a decade. Remember who this story was actually about. Not the man who took her life, the woman whose life was taken, and the father who made sure her name would change things. If cases like this hit you the way they hit me, you'll want to stick around for the next one. A pair of killers who walked into their interrogation completely confident, right up until they realized police had already found the body. That video's up now.